This week on Happy Hour, we spotlight Scott Barron. Join us. Welcome to Happy Hour, our podcast for young adults here at the Cathedral of the Most Sacred Heart of Jesus. I'm Rick, and normally you hear I'm Holly at the end of that sentence, but she is not able to be with us this week. She'll be back next week, but we have the honor, dare I say the privilege, of having one Scott Barron join us, who is a staff member here at the Cathedral. Welcome, Scott.
Thank you, Rick. I appreciate you asking me after you exhausted the rest of your possibilities.
Yeah, it's been over a year, and, well, the barrel's low, so we thought, let's get him on here. It's time. So, Scott, if people don't know who you are on campus as a staff member, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are, your title, and then we'll get into more detail later.
So, yeah, I'm Scott Barron. I have been privileged to work here in the Diocese of Knoxville for going on 12 years. My current title is Director of Parish Ministries, which works in a complementary role with you, Rick, which I'm excited about. I actually started as the athletic director here 12 years ago and PE teacher. And just during the course of those 12 years, I've worked in the school and then started working in the parish and just felt called by God to do more. And so here we sit, and among my roles, I facilitate the wedding and funeral ministries. Which are quite exciting for different reasons. And I also oversee all the events on campus, so from scheduling to execution of the events. And then also I'm fortunate to oversee the volunteers for the RCIA, Cathedral Kids, and Cafe programs. And then this weekend, it'll be my first foray into adult confirmation. So I'm really excited about all the different touch points I have in our parish as I get to know all these different wonderful parishioners and guests that we have.
That sounds exciting and very professional on your end. That's a lot to be in charge of, handle, be the key contact for all of that. And of course, we're speaking primarily to young adults on this podcast, but there's a variety of people that do listen. So when we talk about young adults, we have a lot of young adults that move into the area. Tennessee is just a booming place to move. You know this, right? Like I saw the statistics from U-Haul, and the two places that people are leaving the most in the United States are California and New York. Those are the top two places, according to U-Haul stats, that people are moving away from. Number one in the United States moving to is Tennessee. Over Florida, over Texas, over every other place, Tennessee's number one. Is that crazy?
Well, considering you're from New York, California, and I'm from New York, then
I guess
there we go.
We were just early adopters. That's all that was.
We were ahead of the curve.
That's right.
And it's a beautiful place to live. I came here in 1990. My father got transferred to Nashville. In 1995, I attended the University of Tennessee, or started matriculating at the University of Tennessee, and really haven't left since.
Wow. So clearly you're a UT grad. You use big words like matriculate. This is good. But for those of us that have only just begun our journey in Tennessee, what are some of the highlights of this area? I mean, obviously the Cathedral, but again, we have a lot of young adults that are moving in for the first time experience in Tennessee, because it is a great place to live. If you were going to say, all right, you're a young adult, there are 3 spots that you have to visit, 3 of my favorite spots. It could be anything. What would those spots be, do you think?
One of my favorite with my kids is the Chimney Tops picnic area in the Smokies. It's a wonderful place to just obviously picnic, and there's a stream running by, and it's just really an embodiment of the nature and beauty that Tennessee has. I take my kids there most Mondays in the summer. Another place, obviously, if you love sports, University of Tennessee has some beautiful, beautiful facilities down there right in the river. Those are a big part of my experiences at University of Tennessee outside of the classroom, just the community there. And then, of course, the third one's got to be the Cathedral of the Most Sacred Heart of Jesus, which is the newest and one of the most beautiful cathedrals in the United States. It's just a fantastic spot if you have any association with faith, just to go in there and learn more about the Catholic Church or just churches in general. It's just a wonderful testament to God. And
we have a few people on staff who'd give a tremendous a little tour. If you ever want one, you're listening to this, you say, I'd like a tour of the cathedral. Go to the parish office, ask for pretty much any staff member is usually pretty happy to go and take them on a tour. And it's incredible, the knowledge and all the little details that went into the cathedral is, I mean, I've been a part of building process before. We never put that much thought into every little detail. Everything is accounted for over there.
Yeah, it's very intentional. It's I am in there 2 hours a day most days, and I'm still learning something about the space every day. So it's just a well thought out, well executed, just testament to our faith. It's fantastic. I've never met someone that goes in there that's not who's been underwhelmed. Everyone that goes in there is just amazed by it, and they feel closer to God regardless of their faith tradition.
That's so cool. I love it. And we have groups come on campus. Like later this month, we have a group called Alive in You who comes on campus once a year to do mission trips with high school students. And every time they're here, they ask for, there's different groups that ask for tours of it, and they're just blown. These are high school students, and they're absolutely blown away. They want to spend more time in the cathedral because of the just all the intentionality that's there. And then, of course, when you tell them things like, well, we have one of the most unique first-class relics in the altar, which is Pope St. John Paul II's toothbrush inside the altar. A lot of people don't know that that's in there. People listening right now are saying, what? A toothbrush? It's true. We have a toothbrush in there, right?
We do. I always get the question, what is the color of the toothbrush? And I can never remember. But that is one of the most, that always puts a smile on people's faces when you throw that bit of information in, because everything else is so ornate and so beautiful and so purposeful. And then you're like, there's a toothbrush in there.
I love that too. We're going to say it's red. It's a red toothbrush.
Sounds great. Sounds good to be. You'll never know the difference.
Nobody will ever know. It'll be great. And there's monumental things in there, like a sliver of the true cross is in there, and many other relics. I think 12 or I don't even remember how many are in there. There's a lot. But to see that even that piece, which makes us very unique, I would say the cathedral is perhaps the most unique place in terms of worship that I have been. And I've been around a lot in my life, so I've seen a lot of different worship spaces. So top 3 places on Scott Barron's list to visit. Number 1 is the Cathedral of the Most Sacred Heart of Jesus. That's appropriate. I love that. So, Scott, you also help out a lot of different ways. Maybe people don't know that they've seen you, but they have seen you, because on any given Sunday, typically you play another role in the worship experience of the cathedral. What is that role?
So I have the honor of doing all the training for the children and adult servers. So for the children servers, as part of their experience, if they go to school here or if they go to school somewhere else, we try to teach them the liturgy through serving, and they're a part of the Mass that way. And then the adult servers have been really critical. They've been a critical component beginning during COVID, where they've just taken the pressure off the clergy, where the clergy can just focus on the Mass itself, and the adult servers can kind of guide the children's servers and make sure the book is set to the right spot, and all those little details on the altar that hopefully look seamless. The adults are there to just, again, one, walk closer to Jesus with our faith there, but also just to make the experience even better for those in the pews, because it's seamless, hopefully.
Yeah, that's great. And I don't know if you know this, Scott, but we've now worked together for almost 2.5 years. That's pretty crazy, because it does seem still pretty new. Scott was instrumental in even myself coming here, knowing a couple. We knew somebody, mutual friend, and that was an awesome experience to just sit and talk about what life would look like here, and completely sold me. I mean, there's a reason that I moved my family, all 10 of us, here to the cathedrals, because of the experience of it. Now, when I first came, it's like 10 days later. So my start date officially was March 2nd, 2020. And about 12 days later, everybody decided we got to shut down. And so I jumped back up into Pennsylvania, where I was living at the time, and came back in June. But even in that whole process, Scott has been one of those very positive people on campus that always sees a silver lining and always sees that there is some way to work about any situation. So if you ever get a chance just to sit and chat with them, please take up that opportunity. We would love for you to be involved if you're a young adult or anybody listening, really. We want you involved here on campus in a couple different ways that that can happen. Is, of course, Scott spoke about the altar servers, but we have a couple other ministries, ways that people can be involved, from ushering to lecturing to being a Eucharistic minister or extraordinary minister of communion, whatever the official title is. What is the official title
you just
here?
Nailed it.
Okay, extraordinary minister of communion. So that's wonderful. If somebody wanted to, they moved here or they've been here a little while and want to get involved, and our young adults do, they really want to get involved. What would you say would be a good way for them to do that? Is it a phone call? Is it an email? Should they stop in? Is it a text? There's so many ways to communicate nowadays. What's the best way, and who should they reach out to?
Well, they're all good ways because they're being proactive and they're saying, I want to be more involved. I believe we do a great job here of shallow points of entry. We have trivia nights, which are fantastic. We have food trucks here for the trivia nights. And it's great fellowship there. We just had a parish picnic that you were instrumental in helping me with last week. That was fun to cook about 300 hamburgers and hot dogs with you.
On your tiny grill.
On my tiny grill. That will never look the same again.
Shout out to our grill master,
Nathan Cunningham.
Nathan, that's it.
Yes, talking about he showed up. He said, my daughter's going to go to school here. My wife's going to be teaching here. How can I get involved? And I handed him a spatula. And but it was great because we had fellowship. He's at the grill. He can't go anywhere, so I can get his life story as he's stuck there, so to speak. But we do a great job of shallow points of entry. A lot of social activities where you can kind of put your toe in the water, get to know some people, learn about what we're doing, and then from there figure out where your skill set can best be applied. Because all of us have gifts and talents, and I think one of our strengths, you and I, is we see the people, we meet these people, and we can figure out, hey, you'd be excellent in this ministry right here. And so again, Eucharistic ministers, we need a lot of those, because as we've kind of come post-COVID, a church of our size needs 9 Eucharistic ministers during the Sunday masses. And that takes 9 folks, and hopefully it's not the same 9 folks every week. Also ushering is a critical piece. It's the front porch. You're the first person they see, hopefully with a smile, welcome them into the cathedral, answering their questions. We have fantastic ushers, but we could always use more, just because it's a way to serve. You're not just coming there to get the word, you're also coming there to give back a little bit as well. So there are a ton of ministries. There's Bible studies you can start. There's ways to pull people in, grow in your faith, help people grow in theirs. And we're in a growth mindset, and we forget, because you and I work here every day, but we are in a growing parish. Not as many parishes as we would like are in a growth period. A lot of them are trying to maintain, or unfortunately they're shrinking. And we're growing by 150 families a year. So it is an unbelievable place to be. We continue to start new programs, and we're about to launch Stephen's ministry to help those that are going through crisis. So there are a number of ways to serve, and some that we've probably not even identified yet.
Yeah, I was looking up at our current statistics right on our website, which is shcathedral.org, which lists all the ministries, all the different ways people can get involved. But our current up-to-date stats: 3 priests, 3 deacons, 2,447 families, which equates to 7,368 parishioners. We are a growing parish, and so the challenge of that is, how do we take a parish that is so large and growing? And really, our parish boundary is more than the cathedral. We actually have a parish boundary in the city of Knoxville. But how do we take that big, huge umbrella and make every single person that walks in those doors feel welcome and a part of the whole? That can be difficult at times. And if it's just left up to us or the parish staff or the priests or the deacons, it's impossible. It won't happen. Can't. It just simply can't. And that's why we love it when people want to be a part of the parish life. Because if we look at the model of Christ, what did Christ, could Jesus, in his infinite wisdom and being God, have ministered to everybody individually? Yes, 100% he could have. But so he didn't, though. He chose a different way. He poured himself into the lives of 12 so that those 12 could then pour themselves into the lives of 12 and 12 and 12. And that's the model we're to follow. So if you're listening to this, congratulations. You're one of the 12. We want to be able to pour into you so that you can then be that person that pours into other people in our parish and make a large parish feel very small in terms of who you know. And it's neat, though. Typically, my family, we like to go to the 9 o'clock Mass, although this week we will be at the 11. But we like to go to the 9 because each Mass has a different feel. And the 9 has that kind of family feel where the kids are coming. There's, children's liturgy of the word. There's other people who have kids our own age, and we kind of all sit in the same area. And it's a beautiful parish because people don't judge us when a kid acts up or cries out. We do our best to get up and get out, but sometimes there's just a lot of grace that's needed. I think your family typically tends to go to 9 as well. Maybe they go to all of them. I just see them at the 9. But that feel is great. 11 o'clock is also a different feel. Has more of a contemporary
high school, college age kids.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of UT students tend to come, which is funny because UT actually has a Catholic church on campus, which is great, but the Cathedral is special. It is set apart, and you know that right away going in. So knowing that, you said you were here working in the school as well before transitioning over to the parish office. Now, that was before the new cathedral was built. That was when we had the old cathedral and everything. Sports, all that stuff was your wheelhouse. How did you get started in sports? Because I think there's a story here about a legendary coach of UT basketball that you kind of knew, maybe even had an opportunity to work alongside. How did you get involved? What did that look like?
So 1995, glory days at UT. Always will be. I was a freshman. I had applied to work at the Webb School of Knoxville as the middle school B boys basketball coach, about as low as you can go in organized basketball. Interviewed. They said I beat 2 other people out. I'd like to meet those 2 other people just to see what they did that day. And then I started working at the Webb School, and during that time, worked my way up to the freshman team. But during the course of that, I worked with Shelley Sexton Collier, who's the girls basketball coach, still is at Webb School. Wonderful, wonderful person. We've been friends for 27 years now. And she was a point guard for Pat Summitt back in, I think, the 87 or 88 national championship team. And so one day she was like, "Would you like to meet Pat?" And I was like, "Well, I guess. There's nothing else going on."
Yeah, my afternoon's free.
I was like, "Yeah, we're going to go to her house." She said, "Excuse me?" And so we went to Pat's house, and we were sitting there watching game film, and they stuck me in the middle, and I kept doing my little side eye. I was like, "There's Pat Summitt sitting next to me." So that's where the relationship started. Went back a couple of times, and one of my favorite stories is I was sitting with her, and she was like, "Scott, there's a tape. I want you to see this play. I don't have the tape. Go to the office with me." And when Pat Simmons says, "Go to the office with you," it doesn't matter what I had planned next. I'm going to the office.
Exactly.
So I try to keep up with her. Driving back to the office, UT. We get to her office. I finally catch up with her. She sees her longtime secretary, says, "I'm going to be with Scott. Nobody bother us for 15 minutes. I'm like, "Yeah, nobody bother us."
What she said, yes.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm like, "This is like surreal." So we sat down there and we finished watching the play together, and that she wanted me to see. And I, out of respect for Pat, I've used it ever since. I retired from coaching about 4 years ago, but until that time, I used that play. And I named it something else just because I wanted the story to be mine. But it goes back to later. I moved to Virginia. I was coaching a boys' high school team, and we were coming in to play Webb on their senior night. And who is a senior but Tyler Summitt, Pat's son?
Oh, nice.
So I get a phone call the night before the game. We drove down. We were staying in Gatlinburg, and it was a boys' coach at Webb, and he goes, "Tyler broke his thumb tonight. Would you mind if Tyler won the tip, and then we'll just stop the game and take him out?" And I said, "Well, it's your gym. I'm your guest. You do whatever you want to do. This game doesn't count, so to speak, because it's just an exhibition because we're from different states." But it was also the night that Pat was coaching and won her 1000th game.
Oh, that's awesome.
So the next morning, did not tell the kids about Tyler Summitt, but the next morning, all that's on ESPN, back when ESPN was the place to go for sports, was Pat Summitt. Pat Summitt, Pat Summitt, Pat Summitt. Just 8 hours straight, my kids are watching things about Pat Summitt. Like, you think we'll meet her tonight? I was like, well, you probably see her. I mean, it's her son's senior night. And so we get to the locker room. I gave one of my best pregame speeches all year. I mean, it was fantastic. My coach was like, man, you knocked it. My assistant coach was like, you knocked it out of the park. I was like, I know. I don't think we're going to win, but I just gave a great speech. Excuse me. And knock on the door. And I was like, that's weird. Door opens. Pat Summitt walks in.
Of course.
All my kids, their eyes were the size of like the biggest plate in your house. They're just staring. And Pat, she goes, hey guys, sorry to interrupt. Just, I wanted to come in, say hello. I've been friends with Scott for a while, and I know he's doing fantastic things with you guys, and just how thankful I am. You guys are going to let Tyler win the tip tonight. That just means a lot to me. And I just wanted to say how lucky I think you guys are to have Scott as a coach. And of course, I thank Coach Summitt, and she walks out. My kids go out, and I told my coach, we're going to get beat by 30. We got beat by 33. But the rest of the whole trip back, my kids are like, you really know Pat Summitt? I was like, do you guys think I just make stuff up? So that was my Pat Summitt story. So she didn't really cost me a high school basketball game, but she definitely slanted the differential significantly in Webb School's favor that night, because my kids kept staring at her the whole game. She was on the front row. My kids just kept staring at her as I was calling plays. But it's an experience they'll always have. It's a great story, but I'm kind of upset I wasted a really good pregame speech.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, your speech is long forgotten. I guarantee you none of those kids know what you said. But that's okay. That's nice and humbling, isn't it?
It is, and it's a great story. And she was always very kind to me. Yeah. And I'm one of the few people that were not smart enough to pursue a job with her. I wanted to stay on the men's side, but again, it shaped me. I learned a lot about just leadership from her, and just I'm just blessed. I've been in the right spot at the right times, just like with this job. So I've been very fortunate in my life. So I try to pay that back.
And people that have maybe just moved in the last few years into Knoxville and aren't really familiar with Pat Summitt, I mean, legend doesn't even cover it, because she sets the bar. She's it, right? Gino from UConn, I would say, and her, that's to me the top two women's basketball coaches of all time. I think during her retirement, she retired with the most wins in history, right? In college basketball history, I think.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Tremendous influence just across all spectrums of the game.
Exactly. And the way she went about her business, too, very professional. She expected a lot of you, and from what I understand, every kid knew how much she cared for each individual young woman who came across her path. But she was also very professional. She had expectations, and I love that about her. I feel the same way in terms of my own kids as a parent, right? Like, there's expectations. You know how much I love you, but this is the way we roll. It's a beautiful thing. So if you get a chance, you don't know much about Pat Summitt, go down the rabbit hole. I believe there's an awesome documentary. I forget where it's at now. Just look for Pat Summitt documentary. You'll find it. It's tremendous. And so we're privileged enough to have Scott, who has had such different life experiences and has a family, has really grown up in this area, really taken to heart the UT way, right? And I was blown away. You took me when I first came to UT. I'd never been there before. I've been to even greater colleges like Michigan State, but I've been to some other campuses that are just beautiful and amazing. But this is really special. I was able to see why people come from all over to go to UT. In fact, my co-host Holly is a UT student, but she lives in Georgia, right? And she came because we spoke about this on, I believe, the last podcast or one before. She visited 9 colleges. She wanted to go to, there were 10 options. She visited 9. This was it. This was it. It is that special place. When I lived in Florida for 11 years, people say, oh, you lived in the South. I said, no. Florida's not the South. It's kind of the angry North. But Knoxville, and really Chattanooga was my first experience in Tennessee, but Knoxville, very similar. This is true Southern hospitality here. We might not have the best drivers. We might not always have the best roads. We might not always get everything right, but I will tell you this, you will always feel welcome in Knoxville. That is one thing I can say for certain, and hopefully those that are listening have definitely felt that. Most importantly, we hope you feel welcome here at the Cathedral. Not just welcome, but we want you to be a part of what we do. We don't want you to come and just worship alone. That's not the point of it. The point is that we worship together, we journey together. We want to journey this thing of life with you. And if there are different ways that you feel called by the Spirit to serve, don't wait. Don't wait for somebody to approach you. You come, and we would love to approach you all individually, and we will do our best to do that. But if you feel called, go. Just talk to me, talk to Scott, who now you know way more about than most people who see him on Sundays. But do it. Take a chance. We want you to be a part of what we're doing here. We think you'll love it. So I want to thank Scott. Scott, you're an awesome guest. We wrapped this up perfectly. I always shoot for 25 minutes. In 20 seconds, it's going to be 25 minutes. Any parting words on your part? Any giant wisdom that you'd like to give people?
No, just you won't regret becoming the part of the parish family. Everything in my life, we worship together. We mourn together when something happens. We hang out together outside of it's just a family. It's a true definition of family, and you get that in the South, but you especially get that here in the South with your faith. So if you're looking for something to be part of something bigger than yourself, this is the place, and just try it. And I guarantee you will not regret it. You will thank us for inviting you here. Absolutely.
Could not have said it better. We thank Scott for being on here. Our spotlight this week, Scott Barron. Look for more spotlights. We're going to be highlighting different faculty and staff members here at the Cathedral so that you get to know us a bit more, and hopefully one day we get to know you a bit more. Thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to seeing you next time on Happy Hour.